Hi, we're going to talk about a more psychological aspect about your gameplay, how to become your champion. And what I mean by that is almost in a role-playing sense, to immerse yourself in the world that your champion lives in and play in that manner, in that style that the champion is like. So I'm just going to give you a rundown of champion examples and how knowing the lore of the champions, how thinking a little bit more as to how that champion works will help you play better. And it can sound a little goofy, but just try it out and let me know how it goes, because I do this and I forget to do it all the time, but when I do it, the results are immense. So let's start with what we talked about yesterday, Rengar. Now, we know Rengar is a hunter. He's a lion, right? Lions like to hunt. His lore, he's just this crazy hunter that has been taught from a master, and all he wants to do is just hunt prey. And not the weak ones. He wants to hunt the strong ones. He even has quotes about it. So, a lot of the champions even have quotes telling you how to play them. Like Rengar, he says, remember every kill, which plays into the bone tooth necklace, and track your prey, the scent of prey. Read your enemy and make your move based on that. You're a hunter, so you need to work with the kit that you have and use that effectively. So using brushes, making sure that you're undetected throughout the whole game until you absolutely must strike. And you need to strike effectively and quickly. That's how the champion works. And just like a lion, it has to be with overwhelming force, because your engage was so good that there's just is no retaliation. And you need to keep yourself unpredictable and out of sight as much as possible. That is very important in playing this champion. And that's something that when you go that extra mile in your own game, when you think about it, you start enjoying the game more. And when you enjoy, you can play better, and it just, you'll have a better time in both your results and your enjoyment. I find that very useful, to be honest, especially when the champion reminds you, because some champions don't have the quotes that tell you exactly how they should be playing, but Rengar does. The scent of prey, remember every kill, another thing for my collection, and all these things that tie into the hunter theme that really make you feel like you're a hunter, and that's how you should be playing. And try that out for those that play Rengar, and let me know how it goes. And one more thing about him, though, is you're a lion, and you rely on eating, which, by the way, eating, I think the way Koreans say eating means like getting kills or CS, just taking something is what eating means. So you must eat to survive, especially on this champion. And you know how much you've eaten with your bone tooth necklace, so you must always be hunting. Just like somebody that's hunting to survive, you must always be doing that, because you actually do need to hunt to survive, because your bone tooth necklace is the only thing that's gonna guarantee you making it to the next phase of the game. Getting that bone tooth necklace stack. The first 3 stacks, huge. The 6, the 9, the 12, the 20, those are all huge goals for your champions. You must always be playing proactively while keeping all the previous aspects that I mentioned in mind. Now, a lot of these champions, though, actually have a difficult time thinking in putting their lore into play, because the lore was changed. And that's usually it. But some, the lore may be a little bit ambiguous and all that, but just give it some thought, and make sure that you think about how the champion would work in the realm of League of Legends, or in the League of Legends map, and just kind of apply that to your own play. Now we're going to go with a couple more examples. And Thresh. This one's one that I really like. So Thresh is a sadistic, or was a sadistic jail warden who loved to torture his prisoners with chains. Now, we all know that Thresh's kit is pretty much all chains. And what that tells you is that the most important thing is to make sure that your enemies feel like they're tortured. Now for Rengar, you wanted to make sure that your enemies feel scared. They're afraid, they don't know where you are. But for Thresh, you don't care about that. What you care about is making sure that the enemies feel in agony. And the kit has all the things for that. So things to cause that is, for instance, being able to flay abilities that are important. That infuriates people. It's like, shit, I hate playing against Thresh because he's always flaying me out of my Valkyrie. He's always flaying me out of my Tristana jump or out of my Jarvan combo or my Lee Sin, or he can hook me midair, things like that. That's the playstyle that a Thresh needs to have. And then, oh, I got hooked, and then straight into the box. Like, shit, I can't believe it. Like, this guy's getting me every single time. And if you can master that aspect of Thresh, then you're gonna be so much better. And like, you have to get into the mindset like, I'm annoying. Like, I want to make whoever I'm playing against their life a living hell. Like, I'm always bringing somebody to the party. I'm always interrupting their abilities. I'm always CCing them to death. Things like that. And another thing about it is, in Thresh's lore, he actually ended up dying. So, because he's like this soul chain warden that talks about souls and collecting souls, you must also play without the fear of death. You gotta walk in there and you gotta just fuck everyone's life up and not really care about your own. That doesn't mean go suicidal. That just means that danger to you does not matter as long as you get the job done of getting the right hooks and the right flays and the right lanterns and the good box, things like that. Then we have another one, which is Vayne. Now, the lore of Vayne was that she was this girl who her family ended up being killed right in front of her eyes, almost like I guess that's kind of a similar lore in League, but anyways, her family was taken away from her, and she kind of devoted herself to almost avenging them in a way, and became the demon hunter or the night hunter. And her goal is to just use shadows and hunt enemies relentlessly. Like, she would just hunt you down and kill you until you're dead, which obviously that sounds redundant, but that's how it is. Like, she will not stop until her enemies are all dead, and she will use shadows to her advantage. So as an assassin, as a stealthy assassin, it's very important that you keep yourself very in motion and that you keep your enemies guessing at all times. So using your tumble effectively and creatively is going to be a really defining factor of you being a good Vayne or a bad Vayne, as well as always staying in motion and being unpredictable. It's like, oh, she struck me from the left, oh, from the right, from behind, she's right where I thought she wouldn't be, things like that. And she dodges all these abilities and keeps the enemies really unsure as to what your next move is going to be. Just like almost like the Rengar thing of the unpredictability. That's kind of how you want to play your Vayne, not just being going for, even if it's 1v1, or I mean not 1v1, but multiple enemies at once. You know, in all the cartoons and movies and animes, assassins can deal with multiple enemies at once, and they do it with style and dodging a lot of shit and predicting the enemy's movements and getting out of the way of their own of the enemy's abilities. So playing that way is going to be the most important aspect about Vayne. Now, I know a lot of this may sound redundant because a lot of the kits of these champions really lend themselves to be played that way, and that's right, that's how it should be played. But this is just an extra step, that little oomph for you to remind yourself that getting into the right mindset for certain champions, because no champion has the same mindset from another. Like, you can't have the same mindset playing Nami from Janna when they're kind of similar, or for instance Jarvan to Xin Zhao. They're similar, but your mindset has to be completely different. And we got another one, which, mentioning Jarvan, Jarvan is royalty. Now, in his lore, he is from the royal family. Now, he was cast away. They tried to kill him. He wasn't cast away. I think they tried to kill him, and then he was freed. He fought a lot of enemies. So, being from royal family, what that tells you is that he would fight very courageously. He's brave. He will lead. He's led. In the lore, he leads. So, he has to be the first one in, balls to the wall, and just very, very commanding, very convincingly. So your engages need to be quick, decisive, and more importantly, we all kind of have the general idea that royalty, when they fight, they're not going to fight dirty. You know, they're going to fight it almost like a dance. You know, they've rehearsed this, they've practiced this, they've done this many times. And that's how you should be playing Jarvan. You know, you go in, instant, first one in it, very flawlessly. You know, quick combo. By the way, you can do the combo very, very quickly. Like, you can pretty much speed flag and drag almost before the flag hits the ground. Like, sometimes you can even do that, but you got to be really quick. It's not flag, oh, we're going in. No, you got to do go in and That's it, very, very quickly, and that'll help you a lot. And just thinking in that mindset, like, oh, I'm royalty. And when I started doing that, I became a lot more aware of where my flag was after my initial engage, which allowed me to re-engage to the same flag, which is not something that the enemies expect, and it makes your fighting seem elegant, right? You go in, you ulti someone else, or you ulti the same people, say you flash out, and then you go right back in there, and then it's like, wow, you know, if you're a leader, that's very impressive. That's how you want to lead your. How you want to lead your troops. You know, you're the first one in it, and even if they thought you're going out, you're going straight back in there, and that's a really fun way of playing the champion, and it makes you more aware. And you'll see that doing this is gonna make you notice little quirks of the champions that you may not have noticed before. And the last one, you know, we have Amumu. Now, I mentioned Amumu because Amumu seems to be pretty popular amongst low elo. So, Amumu is a very sad champion because he doesn't have any friends. So all he wants to do is hug everyone and hug as many people as possible. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the previous Amumu lore, but I'm just going off to giving you an example from what you know of the champion and putting that into your own idea as to how the champion should be played. So if you click on the lore, you don't really know what Amumu is about. But you do know that he's a sad mummy. And his quotes tell you that he doesn't have any friends, he wants to hug, he's crying, things like that. So you need to make sure, and his kit lends itself for that you're hitting as many people as often, and you just want to hug. You want to make sure that there's as many people grouped together and just hug him out of nowhere. Which by hug, I mean, you know, you gotta bandage toss into crazy ulti, throw a massive tantrum around them, and just cry all over him and just start weeping. But another cool trick about Amumu, by the way, is that you can give him a nice little flash hug, which you can R and then flash, and your ultimate will appear in your flash location if you do it quickly enough. So just how you can kick flash on Lee Sin, you can R flash on Amumu. So what happens is you press your R, the animation starts happening, and you flash in the middle of that animation, canceling the animation, and the ultimate will appear in your new location. Just like the kick flash on Lee Sin, or like for instance, charm flash on Ahri, things like that. Just like that, you can do that on Amumu. So give him a nice little surprise hug. So I hope you guys don't look past this video because it can sound a little silly, but just trust me, try it, let me know how it went, because every time I do this, I have immense success with the champion. If you have trouble figuring out how the mindset should be, just create one for yourself. You know, make sure that it's actually pretty accurate. Consider the champion's kit, the champion's quotes, the way the champion looks, the way the champion feels, things like that. Really take all of that into consideration before you make an idea, and make sure that every time you play a new champion, your mindset should be different. Should be very different, because no two champions are alike, and therefore all champions should have a very unique playstyle. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, and feel free to let me know any future ideas for videos that you'd like to see.